What's up, guys? Welcome to the third episode of My Action Figure Painting Academy. We're so happy to have you here. Tim is composing on the bottom there.
Hello, everyone.
We got Guillermo in the comments being the first one. Yo, what's up? What's up, G?
What up, G?
How you doing, brother? Very special episode today. Very excited for today. As everybody knows, we have Eric Miller. Should be familiar with his work. For those that aren't, check his stuff out. Definitely, you don't want to miss any of that. And he's going to be doing some airbrushing today, something we have not seen very much as far as painting, or I at least haven't seen it very much as far as painting. So without any further ado, let's bring Eric on screen. What's up, Eric? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you so much for being on this episode with us today and showing us some of your talents.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's start off. Tell us about how you got into the whole customizing thing.
I forgot we were going to go back and ask these kinds of questions. Started customizing and probably around like 2007 or 8. I was making Marvel characters out of DC Universe Classic bucks because at the time it was way better than what Hasbro was doing. So I was taking like Superman figures and turning them into Marvel characters. And I just kind of dabbled in that. And I really kind of dabbled in general up until about 2 years ago when I started painting more often and taking it more seriously.
Nice.
Did you keep any of the older customs, Eric?
Yeah, I've got most of them. I did a few commissions like back when like the 2012 Ninja Turtles came out. I remember I painted some sets of Ninja Turtles and sold those and stuff, but for the most part I've got them all still.
Oh, that's really cool.
Now, just a quick little guess here, but you're sort of kind of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, huh?
I don't think you have your info right. You might.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're my thing for sure. They're my one franchise that I couldn't do without, I guess.
How come?
How come?
Yeah.
Just been around since I was a kid. You know, I was right at that age when they came out. I was like 3 when the cartoon aired.
Oh, right on.
Just prime age to be obsessed with them.
Sure.
Very nice. We have Curtis hopped on earlier. He was saying hello, Curtis. Thank you for joining us tonight. So Eric, now when you first started, obviously you probably, was doing, brush work with customs. Tell us a little bit how you moved on to airbrushing.
So, yeah, I was self-taught for a long time. When I started painting back in like 2008, there weren't any like tutorials anywhere or reference guides. You just had to like do it and hope that it was good or came out good. And then basically I learned dry brushing at some point in time, and I was one of those guys that just dry brushed the heck out of everything. And then I got to the point where I just wanted to do more than that. And I wasn't very good at blending in things with an actual brush, so I wanted to get an airbrush to try that out. So even more now, I found that I kind of rely on the airbrush too much, so I'm going back to blending with a brush and really learning how to do that well.
Good.
Nice.
And I've done some pieces that I'm pretty happy with when it comes to that. But yeah, I wanted the airbrush to be a tool, in my arsenal or whatever, but I didn't want it to be a crutch. And it got to the point for a minute there where it kind of did feel like a cop out to just like airbrush everything.
Now, do you find with an airbrush, do you find that you're able to execute more pieces in a faster manner, or give us a little bit of the pros and cons of the airbrushing?
So the pros is just the ability to blend pretty effortlessly. That's the huge pro, and that's what makes it all worth it. The cons are it's a lot of setup, it's a lot of upkeep, maintenance, that sort of thing. And it can be faster depending on what you're doing. Like I did a Sir Galeron clone that I painted yesterday, and I was able to do that whole figure in about the time that it normally takes me to do a single like head hand
Oh
painted,
wow.
just because I airbrushed like all the tones on the body, and I wasn't going for like normally I would do highlights, shadows, that sort of thing, but I was just trying to make it look like a stock figure, so I didn't worry about that stuff. Just airbrushed it one color and brushed in the highlights, or not the highlights, but like the armor details.
Now with airbrushing, how much control do you have as far as the spray goes? Because you're spraying there. Can you adjust that? Is that adjustable or?
Yeah, for sure. So the airbrush that I have, I'll go ahead and show you.
Yeah, definitely show us.
So I'll just hold it up like this. So this is a dual action airbrush. The one that I use is called an Iwata Eclipse, which is what a lot of people that airbrush use. It's a good kind of middle of the road airbrush. So it's dual action. So what that means is you push up and down on this to get the air to flow, like that. But then it also pulls back like this. So you push down to get airflow. It's basically off and on. There's not a lot of adjustment there, but it starts small, and as you pull back, the
widens.
Yeah, the spray will widen.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting.
And then you also just use the proximity to what you're painting to kind of do it too. And that's like I was telling you the other day, I've been airbrushing long enough to where I've developed a ton of bad habits. So I like to just put this thing on full blast and just hold back and go close and like, yeah, so I don't worry too much unless I'm doing really fine detail work about the adjustment. They tend to be so frustrating to try to get a feel for it that I just put it on full blast.
Gotcha. Yeah, hey, you go with what you know, right?
Yeah.
Now, Eric, when you do use the airbrush, because there's so much upkeep, do you prep quite a few pieces at once?
No, that's what a smart person would do.
Okay.
So I'm horrible at batch painting. I need to be better at it. I probably could knock a whole lot of stuff out at once if I were to do that, but I tend to just focus on one thing at a time.
I got you. So that's a lot of work, a lot of setup just for one piece then.
Yeah, I mean, my workspace is my dining room table, so I have to set it up and tear it down anyway. So
Gotcha.
I get used to it. It's kind of in the rhythm of my painting. It's like I get home from work, set my stuff up, I can knock out one piece, tear it down, and that's like the work for the day,
Right. Still, can you bring up Curtis?
Yeah.
There you go.
Curtis just asked Eric if you can give an idea of like the starting cost for airbrushing.
Sure. So, like I said, the airbrush that I have is a middle of the road airbrush. There's definitely cheaper ones. There's definitely more expensive ones. I don't like to mess around when I get into something. I like to kind of like not buy the cheapest thing so that I can not be working against myself trying to learn how to do things. And what I found with airbrushes is that the cheapest ones are still expensive enough to where it just made sense to spend a little bit more and get something nicer. So the airbrush that I have is about $150, and then you need a compressor, which the one that I have is about $100. So I'd say like $250. But if you did entry level stuff, airbrushes are going to be around like $70-$80, and a compressor would probably be about the same. So you'd probably be looking at like $160-$170.
That's not too bad.
Not a bad start.
Yeah.
Now, do you have an indoor exhaust to get rid of that, or
No, I am very
you just huff away, you drug addict? Got you.
yeah. I wear a mask if I know I'm going at it for a long time.
Right.
Um, I probably should do it every time, but I don't. And then honestly, to catch the overspray, got a cardboard box.
Hey,
No,
I live
that's
I
it.
live by those. Every box I get, Amazon or BBCS, it's going to use somewhere.
That's right.
Oh, good for you. Can we
So-
talk about that cardboard cutout in the back behind you?
I knew it was
This
coming,
guy-
Eric.
I wasn't going to put that in there, but he was back there when Stella and I were testing the other night, and he said to keep it.
It looks great.
This is it's a hitchhiking ghost from the Haunted Mansion. So last year, my wife wanted me to make like lawn characters for Halloween decorations, and I was so busy I didn't do it. So this year, I'm trying to make sure I do it. So that's the first one. He's almost done.
And
It
you
looks awesome.
painted that.
What's that?
You painted that.
Yeah, it's wood.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah, I drew it, cut it out of the wood, painted it, and then I like did these heavy outlines with Sharpie so that it looks nice and bold.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that looks great so far.
gorgeous.
Got 2 more to make. That one took me like a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it head
Yeah.
to toe?
Yeah, it's about 5 feet tall. Like
Oh,
this
that's
is like
really
5
awesome.
feet,
Right on.
and I'll put it in my lawn, and someone will steal it, and it'll all be for nothing.
We're the scumbags of Halloween. All right.
Now you did say they do have little filters, right, that you can have inside the house. Let's say if you do want to airbrush and you want to not have like the fumes going around, they do sell something like that, right?
Yeah, it has basically a vacuum fan on it that you spray into it just like the cardboard box. It has like a little
Mhm.
box area with like basically a chimney on the top. It just runs through a filter and like it's basically like an air purifier.
Gotcha.
It
Yeah.
sucks up the paint air and
Probably
just
like some
releases
carbon
clean
filter
air.
of some sort.
Yeah, I don't have room for something like that.
Well, it's good. So people know that there is something like that available. If maybe they were thinking about that being an issue, that is available to them in
For
the
sure.
market.
And that is the wise thing to do. Like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I have a garage that I just spray primer on pieces, and even with just that, sometimes because of the humidity, the air is very stale, doesn't move around too much. Just
Mhm.
I can just feel it. So definitely use protection when you can, guys.
For sure.
So with that being said, Eric,
Well, wait a minute. Rich Kai's had a question.
oh, let's see, Rich. Let's see what Rich has to say here. We will see a Masters of the Universe tribute we're not see at Legion's Con.
Yep.
Yes, we
I already have them done. I've got 2 of them.
will. Ooh. Can we get
Nice.
a sneak peek?
A sneak peek?
That's all we can disclose.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do the sneak peek thing.
Exactly.
Lame. All right.
I'm pretty
But,
proud of them though.
You are my favorite wet blanket, though, Eric, just so you know.
Oh man.
I
So
will
speaking
say,
about
I
priming,
don't have a Ninja Turtles one.
No,
this
Couldn't
year.
think of a good one. Yeah.
well, you give us a pretty good lineup up until this point, as far as Ninja Turtles, I think.
Yeah, I need some more parts. I think I'm just waiting for that spark. Like, that could be that character, and then I can do it. But it just hasn't happened.
well, who's left that you could do?
There's tons of Ninja Turtles characters, but maybe with Cosmic there'll be some more opportunities.
Mm,
Nice.
right on.
Back to when we were saying about priming, is airbrushing, or can you airbrush primer as well as paint through the gun?
Yeah, a lot of people do that. I don't use airbrush primer. I just use the spray cans, like I was showing you, the Citadel Chaos Black.
Chaos Black. Yeah.
I prime everything with this. And I'll show you guys too once I get into the actual airbrushing, but I do a Zenithal prime on almost everything, and I'll explain what that is when we get into it.
Definitely. Well, guys, any questions that you guys have for Eric before we kind of get started on this? Or I did see Guillermo said with Cosmic, you can see a Baxter Stockman. What do you think, Eric? Can you see it?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
That's probably a no-brainer.
Right on.
Very nice. Well, guys, definitely, if you have questions, put them in the comments, and we're gonna have Eric get started here. He's gonna kind of show us he did show us the brush, so he's just gonna go through a little setup. So,
What's your favorite faction, Eric?
Like Legion's faction?
I guess, yeah, that's what they're
I don't know. I'm not huge on the lore, so I tend to just gravitate towards characters. But I like monsters, so I would say probably Legion of Aerith here.
Nice.
That definitely is the most.
I was gonna say too, since we got everybody here and you were talking about it, you should bring up that Sir Galeron. Show them up close for some people. Bring the.
This is my fake Galeron that I made. Off the camera. So it is not real. I got tired of not being able to afford a real one, so I just made my own. And
So
that's
awesome.
that's what I was talking about. All just all airbrush,
That's
that
so
copper
cool.
tone, and then I just painted the gold details, and it was done.
That's neat.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
It came out looking good. Like I was telling Stell, I think if you put it next to a real one, it wouldn't look anything like it as far as the colors. Like they're probably all wrong, but I'm happy with it.
I think it looks great. And going only, guys, he's going only off pictures. Nah, he didn't have an actual piece to compare it to, so that I think it looks very good.
Yeah,
so
only.
Eric, do you have quite a few Mythic Legions? Are you missing only a few, or what?
Yeah, I'm only missing a couple. That's why I got so fed up with Galeron, because he was the last one. He's the last named character that I've needed, like for a long time. He's the last named character that I've needed.
Gotcha.
Other than that, I need a gold skeleton, I need a gold knight, and then I'm complete.
Oh wow, nice. That's really cool. Well,
yeah. And I will say a couple of my other ones are fake too. My Otho is a custom, and my Godfrey is a custom too.
Right on.
Godfrey's a waste of a figure, in my opinion. I'm just going to throw that out there.
because it's the Templar.
Yeah, he's a Templar. He's a more expensive.
Honestly,
Templar.
when they had the gold trim Templars builders,
yeah,
you could make one fairly easy. It's just the
isn't that it?
And the plume.
The pauldrons are different and the weapons are different, and then he has a plume instead of a spike. That's it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, whenever you're ready, because Stell has the.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of left it on there. I can switch it back.
We have a great view of your hand.
Look at those.
Sure. Okay, so we're painting this dwarf guy, right? I should have looked up his name and I didn't. I believe it's a Matt O'Toole sculpt.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
See, there's two that are similar to that one.
Dombril or something, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah. But anyway, I've already primed it with Chaos Black. I didn't think anyone needed to see me spray can a head.
No, you're fine.
So we'll do a Zenithal prime. So what that is I use white ink. So this is Liquitex acrylic ink, and this is my favorite ink to use for airbrushing. And what you'll do with the Zenithal prime is we'll put it in the airbrush. We'll hold the head like this and just shoot it from the top. So basically, if he were standing outside in the sun,
I gotcha.
Your light up top, and then all your shadowed areas stay dark. So the cheeks highlight, the top of the head highlights, that sort of stuff. And it gives you a nice guideline to go off of to tell where your shadows and highlights go.
How you doing, Josh?
That's actually a really cool technique, Eric.
Yeah,
It's a
it is
great way
cool.
of sketching
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'm not the
Makes-
originator of it, and I can't take credit for it. But yeah, it's I pretty much do it to everything I paint.
Well, I mean, that's really a smart move. I mean, especially if you're using an airbrush.
Eric, while you're setting up, Maverick had a question here. He says, "What are some of the harder figures to paint match?" He feels like Vitus is up there on some of the
No, I'm
more
gonna
difficult.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Gracia. That was a tough one for me.
Oh, Grisha?
Yeah,
The Slither?
Yeah. Baynard the Wise is the name of that head.
Baynard the Wise.
nice. I have a hard time paint matching skin tones for sure. Legion's skin tones are weird. Like the
Mhm.
human skin tones, none of them make sense to me. I can't wrap my head around them. Calavius was like, I almost gave up. And then the orcs too are kind of weird. I just recently found a pretty good paint match thanks to some of my friends that I talked to. They're like the only two shades of green that I didn't own. And if you mix them 50-50, it's like perfect.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I don't know how well this is gonna pick up, but yeah,
Let me bring you up, Tim. One second.
it doesn't look like it's gonna really pick up. However, so as you can tell, that's not Gracious torso.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I almost had it. Damn it. The arms, the upper arms
There you
are,
go.
but obviously the torso, so all that stuff on the side, and then these legs, that was all color matched. And
Nice.
it was really tough. I mean, I wish the lighting was better so you could actually
Grisha
see.
has a lot going on too.
Yeah, there's
It's a very
definitely a lot
colorful figure.
going on with this thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just not picking up, but yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. What was another
All right.
hard one for you, Eric?
What's that?
What was another hard one for you?
I don't know. Those skin tones are bizarre. And then any kind of
so
colored metallic.
Armor you don't have an issue with?
Well, like colored metallics, just paints in general aren't easy to find.
Mm.
So, but I really, when I've done customs, I haven't had to paint match armor for the most part. I just repaint all of it. So I just pick whatever color I want.
Right on.
What I found too with paint matching also is if you get into detailed work painting, really your mid-tone needs to be close and that's about it. So if you're paint matching like a skin tone, as long as your mid-tone on your head that you're painting or whatever, as long as that matches pretty closely to like the arms, it's going to look fine. You can highlight it, you can shade it however you want.
Yeah, I usually just to color match, I just dip everything in Newland oil.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, guys! This is an unofficial sponsor for tonight's episode. Nullen Oil.
You knew
Yeah.
that was coming.
All right. Well, I guess I should probably get started, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
So, pull my little stand over here. So in the airbrush, I've already put some in. It's a gravity feed airbrush. So you put the paint up here. It gravity feeds down here. You shoot the air through the bottom. The air mixes with the paint and atomizes, sprays out the end. So does that make sense?
Indeed.
Eric, did you thin the paint at all, or do you have to do any type of thinning when you put in the paint?
Yeah, I do. With the acrylic ink, I don't because it's already super thin. It is an ink. It's not a paint.
Ink. Gotcha.
Yeah. So this one I didn't thin at all. So, man, this is hard to do. So you can see it. I'm basically going to hold the head like this, spray from the top, and you'll see what happens, I guess. So kind of test it. Yeah. Am I in the frame? I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah. All right, is it just me or does it look cool as is right now? It looks like a ghost.
That's probably good there.
That's definitely
So
really
I should have explained this to him. What I did a few times in there. Can you hear me over the compressor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you spray the piece. It's wet on the surface. If you just push that button down on the airbrush, no paint comes out unless you pull the lever back. So you can kind of use that to dry the piece as you're going.
Oh, nice.
So a few times in there, I just hit it with air. So what we're working with now, I got to take it off here because the stick I have it on is way too long. Can
That's
you see
really,
it?
Yeah, that's really cool.
So you basically just have a grayscale base, and it tells
true.
you where all your highlights and shadows are.
Wow.
You just use that as a guide the whole time you paint. The first few layers will go on pretty transparent. You'll be able to see it. You pretty much end up covering this all up anyway, but it just helps you to visualize it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So that's it for the prime. We're done. So
Honestly, for as good as like a hand-drawn artist that you are, Eric, I'm surprised that you do something like that.
Well, instead of just
because normally hand-drawn artists, I mean, we practice in shading and how the light would come in and what parts would be shaded and whatnot. But I'm actually surprised that you have something like that, like some kind of technique.
sure.
It's a really cool technique. Don't get me wrong.
It's I mean, I could wing it and it would probably, I mean, especially now since I've done it 1,000 times,
Sure.
I can make it look fine. It still helps just to visualize it at the beginning of the process.
Well, like you said, Eric, it definitely brings out those details. And I never even thought of it. And once you kind of said it and did it, it's definitely a very cool step to add in there. Even though you said you're going to cover it up, it still gives you, kind of like a preview of what's to come.
Yeah. So Curtis just asked if you could achieve that with a dry brush downward from the top. Yeah, absolutely. You could do the same thing for sure.
Cool. That's good to know, guys.
So here's my paints that I typically use for like a Caucasian skin tone, I guess. So I use Citadel almost exclusively. My mid-tone is Cadian Flesh Tone.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's kind of, it's a little bit of like an orangey tan flesh tone. The shadows, I use Bugman's Glow. And these names make sense to people who paint Warhammer models, I think, but I have no idea what a Bugman is or why it glows. But it glows this color, apparently. And then the highlights, I usually use Kislev Flesh. So that's just the process that I'll go through. So when I airbrush, I start with a mid-tone. So we'll go ahead and load up with some Cadian Flesh Tone. I feel like this is really boring. Is this really boring?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
I'm very interested.
And then I keep a cup of water here, aside from my like paint cup of water. And this is for clean water to dilute the paints in the airbrush. And then I use one of these guys to take the water out and put it in the airbrush.
Eric, is it pretty easy to pour paint from the Citadel containers in the airbrush?
No, not at all. Don't even try it because you'll end up punching the wall.
I bet.
I just use a crappy old paintbrush and just scoop some out and mix it in the top. So, actually, there's still some ink in there, so I'm going to put some more water in and dump that. I try to go about 50-50 water to paint, maybe 60-40 paint to water, actually.
Mm.
Eric, did you, other than just kind of putting some water in to clean the hopper of where the paint goes, did you shoot any water out, or do you have to clean, let's say, like the inside part before switching to the skin tone paint?
Yeah, I did that while we were talking, and I should
Gotcha.
have said what I was doing,
No, you're fine.
but I'm nervous and I forgot.
You're totally fine, Eric. Not a problem. The funny thing is, I'm kind of familiar with this because I used to do. My dad had a painting company in California, and I used to use the big spray painters, the machines, and I just know from that the maintenance that it took from those, and breaking them apart and all that. So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Right.
For sure.
Is that when you guys were body painting hookers? Anyways, go on.
This is what I've run through in the meantime. It's just airbrush cleaner. It's
Nice.
I don't know what it is. It's not alcohol and it's not water, but it's like something in between. It helps thin the paint and just kind of get it to run through the airbrush smoothly.
Very nice.
So yeah, I've got paint and water in the cup now. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can.
Mm-hmm.
So I mixed it with the brush. It's probably good to go. But what I like to do is put my finger over the nozzle and push down air.
I got
and
you.
Pull back a little bit.
So it kind of kicks and mixes in there. Nice.
Yeah, let me see if I can. It's a weird angle.
You can kind of hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
So that definitely mixes the paint really well.
Cool.
And then I just test it on the cardboard box to make sure it's coming out well.
Right on. Yeah, we can see it too. That's really nice.
Nice.
So when I airbrush the mid-tone, I just go over everything that I did. I'm not worried about hitting certain spots on the face, just covering everything and getting a nice even cut.
Gee, you ain't kidding. He said that's some bong action.
I would not know, but I
Yeah.
trust you. So I can already tell my paint is way too thin, so I'm going to put some more paint in there.
I was going to say, I didn't see any paint getting on there.
It came out.
Now,
but
what exactly was going
loose.
on there at that moment, Eric? Was it shooting out air only, or?
No, I shot out paint.
Yeah, the color was coming out. You can see where on the cardboard right above the light dot.
Oh, maybe in the back there, yeah.
Yeah, you can actually see what it was.
How interesting.
I spilled some too. Clean that up.
So you just added more paint now, Eric?
Yep. Yeah, it was too thin, so I got to thicken it up. I'm gonna make sure that first paint's dry. Okay.
Bring lower. There you go. Now you're in frame. Good. You bring it down a little bit more.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
Perfect. That's a very light coat.
And then I'm just gonna hit it with some air to dry it really quick.
Very nice.
So this is just the first layer of paint.
Yeah.
And you can see all the shadows and highlights are still there. I didn't really cover that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went kind of light to get the first layer of paint here. What I find is once you get that first layer on, you can kind of go a bit heavier and it'll keep it from really spreading and getting gloppy and messy like it would if you just came right out of the gate spraying a ton of paint at it.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, I'm going to go with the same color and just kind of get a more of an even coat on it. And I'm holding the airbrush further back because I'm not worried about detail. We just want coverage at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much the mid-tone layer.
Hey, Eric, out of curiosity, do you have both audios on from your computer and
No,
your
we
iPad?
have the tablet off.
What I found when we were testing this is that since I'm using two screens, the device will not allow me to turn the volume all the way down on one of them. So there is a little bit of a kickback in the volume.
I got you. I was wondering what I was picking up there. Okay.
Yeah, the camera on the iPad is so much better than the camera on any other device that I have that I couldn't sacrifice it.
Yeah, no. It looks
I told him the picture's too good.
I'm going to do one more layer of this before I move on.
Oh, awesome.
Switch to the other camera. Never mind.
What's that?
Nothing. I was talking to Paul.
Yeah.
I told him to switch to the other camera while you were doing that, but he didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Eric, typically about how many coats do you put on?
It just depends. You got to feel it out. I mean, you want it to look nice and even and blended. And then I'll probably end up doing this on the camera too, which is when I start getting into my shadows and my highlights, I'll mess up 50 times and have to go back and redo it. So it gets to a point where it's a back and forth. I'm going to try to do kind of a cheat on here tonight just to kind of move things along, but we'll see how things go.
Cool.
So I need to switch colors now. I still have my mid-tone in the airbrush. So I've got these little paint cups and I'll just pour it in there and then I can kind of come back to that instead of having to mix it all over again.
Very nice. That's a good idea.
At least for a little while. And then I just need to run some of that thinner through. This is the annoying part of airbrushing, is just like all the monotonous stuff you do in between.
I actually am really enjoying the sound effects.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, it's actually great time, to let your piece dry.
For sure. One other thing, when I paint not on camera, is I use a hairdryer constantly, and I'm trying to avoid that tonight.
He's lying. He got in trouble by his wife, and she took it away from him. That's why he's not using it tonight.
I just didn't want you guys to have to put up with the sound of a hairdryer the whole time. So what I like to do next is go in with the shadow tone. So that's Bugman's Glow. So I'll load that up and thin it.
Eric, real
Any
quick.
Questions or anything I need to address?
Curtis might not have been here when you addressed it earlier, but he was saying, how much control do you have with the airbrush? And can you paint the beer without hitting the skin, he's saying.
I could very carefully, but the edges wouldn't be very hard. I would have to mask it somehow to make that a convincing transition. really, when you're going from skin to beard, you don't need to blend at all because it's two completely different things, hair and skin and stuff. So really, even tonight, like I'm not going to be airbrushing the beard because I normally wouldn't. So what I'll do is I'll airbrush all the tones in the face and then go over the beard. I usually just dry brush details on a beard and then paint the rest of it. Is that all right?
Oh yeah.
If we even get there.
And Mindless Focus has another question here, Eric.
Yep.
He says he heard another video to not use hair dryers that slowly evaporation makes a tighter molecular chain and stronger paint bond. Any thoughts on that?
Then air drying?
Yeah, if you're using a hair dryer because you're speeding up the process, he says that if you let it naturally, that he says that you get a stronger paint bond. Have you noticed a difference or?
So yes and no. And actually my dropper just disappeared. Sorry.
What up, Lou?
Lou, what's going on, man? Lou just popped on.
So what I found with using a hairdryer for paint, when you're working on a piece, you really just need it to be dry to the touch. You don't need it to be fully cured when you're putting on layers. So I find that it doesn't interfere with layering of paint. Like it doesn't reactivate the paint if you put a layer on top of it after using a hairdryer. But say if I was doing a full custom and I have my figure fully disassembled, I would wait for that to cure naturally before I would reassemble it, because just tightly grabbing onto those pieces and shoving them back in all the joints, like I would worry about the paint flaking off or like smudging.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I use a hairdryer while I'm working, but I always, when I'm done painting, I wait for it to naturally cure before I do anything with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So here
I have no idea where that dropper went.
I'm sorry, Eric. Which color did you say you switched to now?
Bugman's Glow.
Bugman's Glow.
That's my shadow tone. I apologize if this is boring.
Guys,
it's not.
You're fine. For anybody that's not already following Eric on Instagram, EM Custom Parts is his name, so definitely get him already. And keep an eye out for his awesome customs.
That's good. I keep taking the head off to show you guys.
How do you let the parts cure before you reassemble, Eric?
So I seal everything when I'm done, and then I let it sit. I like to usually let it sit for at least 24 hours before I put it back together.
Right on.
Just let it air cure.
Yeah, I think that's the best way too.
That is him.
So, okay, on to the next step here. I think I'm just knocking everything off when I'm not paying attention. Move that over. So for the shadows, you're wanting to basically come up on the bottom of every kind of raised area. So you're looking at the bottoms of the cheeks, bottom of the nose, eye sockets, that sort of stuff. And then also with my shadow tone, I kind of do some of the natural gradations in skin. So like, even if it's not a shadow, like if you look at a bald man, his temples are going to be a little bit more pink. Even along the top here is usually a little bit more pink. So even though there would naturally be a highlight there, I like to go in with my shadow tone just to kind of create depth, if that makes sense.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I hope I'm using words correctly.
You are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So
don't worry about it. You're fine.
For my first pass with the base tone, I'm going to go in from the bottom. Similarly to how I did the top for the Zenithal, we're
Makes
going to do the
sense.
opposite here. And that'll kind of get the basic volumes of the shadows in there where they should be. And then I can kind of go in and fine detail a little bit more if I need to.
Will you fine detail with a hand brush?
Not for the skin tone, typically. I do it all airbrush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want to bring up Drew's question still?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
So Drew was asking, he was wondering why not use the Bugmans first, then the midtone, and if there's a reason.
Yeah, because he's using it as shadow.
Yeah, I mean, it helps you visualize the whole piece if you start with the midtone. And that's why I start with the Zenithal and then the midtone, because it just helps with the visualization of everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's more of like what's going on in my head than what makes the most sense to do. Because I agree that it makes the most sense to start with the shadow. Really, I mean, you start with darker colors first, typically.
Sure.
But what I like to do is start with the midtone, go in with the shadow, and then I'll usually reblend the midtone before I go in with the highlights.
Well, the bottom line is, Eric, we've all seen your work. However you decide to do it, clearly it's working for you. So
Yeah, totally.
rock on with that stuff. It doesn't matter if it's logic or not, because it's working for you.
I appreciate that. And I never claim to do anything the easy way. So like there's probably better ways to do this stuff, but I should have prefaced with this. Like I don't do things the right way. If there is a right way, I do things my way. So this is just my way.
Exactly. I was gonna say.
So don't fight anyone in the comments if someone says, I heard the right way to paint this is that. And
Right.
I heard Eric say. No.
I think one of the first rules we established with this is that, everybody kind of has their own touch when it comes to, painting and all that. So
Drew Grubb said thank you, because he doesn't use an airbrush, so he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, and my answer could be wrong. I don't know. But
And
that's
of course,
just my logic.
Yeah. And of course, Guillermo says you're all wrong.
Agreed. All right, I'm going to go in with this one now.
Yeah, Curtis. Drew has some fantastic skin tones.
Amazing.
Yeah, Drew actually is a very, very talented painter. I love his stuff. So,
Oh yeah,
I agree, 100%.
Okay. So my lighting is horrible, so I wonder if you'll even be able to see this.
Tilt it up just a little bit.
Bring it, just a little
Like
bit.
this.
Up.
Up.
Now
Nose up.
tilt it. Tilt the guy's head up. There you go.
Okay. So this didn't get me where I want to be, but it got me kind of there. So we've got darkness under the eyes and the eyebrows, a little bit under the cheeks. It's got some right here in the center of the forehead, which is actually one of those natural spots where people tend to have darker tones. And a little bit on the tip of the nose. This sculpt is really, really recessed in here, which is great because it provides high detail. But what that's doing is the mustache is blocking my undercoat from hitting the bottom of the nose.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go in there and try to hit that a little bit more directly, really carefully with the airbrush. The other point that it's not hitting that I want it to hit is right here on, gosh, you can't see anything I'm doing. Right here on the temple, I'm not getting as deep a tone there as I want.
Okay.
So I'll probably go into the eye sockets a little bit too. So yeah, we're going to hit like the, this line here, whatever that's called, like the dimple line or whatever. Bottom of the nose, a little bit in the eye sockets, and then the temples. Try to hit that a little bit better.
I am really surprised with how much control you have with the airbrush.
And a lot of that's practice, because really
Mm-hmm.
all I'm doing is I'm like that last pass. All I did was just hold the airbrush back and just do a few sweeps. But now with this one, I'm actually going to be getting like in here.
Up close and personal.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it in frame too.
Well, just worry about more painting how it's comfortable for you, so you don't.
Yeah,
You
you
know
can
what I
always
mean?
show it to us. You know?
So that must have been super light, right?
Yep.
Because
Yeah, I'm
you
putting
were holding
on.
that. Yeah, you were holding that on the same spot for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm just barely pulling my finger back to release that paint.
Gotcha.
And you got to be careful because it's one of those things where you got to be patient and really see it layering up. If you try to go too quick, you're just going to splash that dark paint.
Right, right. Mindless Focus said, did the
Just
feed
me, I
die
think.
for anyone else, or is it just him? Must be just you.
Yeah, we were still here.
Yeah, it's just you then, Mindless. So I have a question while you're doing that, Eric. If you can hear me okay while you're doing that. So do you ever worry about how you know how you have spillage over onto the beard, right? Or even the hairline, which is unavoidable, right? Do you ever worry about, or do you ever find that that alters whatever color you lay down for the beard?
Not typically, because when I go in with the brush, I'm laying down heavier layers.
Okay.
So it just kind of covers it.
Right.
If it ever does get to a point, like sometimes it has gotten to a point where I'm like, man, that's not going to work with what I laid down. I'll go back over with a black base coat first.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. All right. Right on.
Eric, have you ever had the airbrush do any type of like paint spitting, like it spits out? Do you ever have to worry about anything like that?
So yeah, when that happens, what that means is your
You need to
paint's too
clean
thin, or the psi on your compressor is way too high. So you got to find those sweet spots. That's something I glazed over entirely when I was doing that little introduction.
Yeah.
Probably should have talked about that a little bit.
You can talk about it now.
What I'm getting here that's super frustrating is paint drying on the tip of my needle.
Oh,
And that's preventing my fine spray from coming out. It's like you get nothing until it comes out and you have way too much. So I got to get this dried paint off the tip of my airbrush needle here.
Now, what are you? What's like the remedy for that? Where are you just kind of brushing it with the paint thinner?
Yeah, I just dipped the brush in water to get something to thin it there. But if I needed the thinner, I would. It's embarrassingly bad right now, so I might need to like stop and do it. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Sorry, give me just a sec here.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, take your time, Eric. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah, what I'm going to do now, since the water wasn't good enough, I'm going to dip my brush in the thinner, the airbrush thinner.
Gotcha.
Hope that dissolves the paint a little bit more.
So do you plan on doing a full custom with this head, Eric, that you're painting right now?
No.
You're just gonna paint it and leave it as is?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people hang me for it, but I'm not a big dwarf fan.
All right.
Guillermo, don't take that personal, bro.
Yeah, 50 messages just came in. They're leaving. Thanks, Eric. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Yep. Oh, we're down to 2 viewers.
What I figured we'd probably do
Yeah.
is we could probably do it as a giveaway for the people in the comments.
Oh, that's really cool.
Cool.
So maybe you want to stick around.
Yeah. There's one person.
You created a frenzy in the comment section there, Eric.
What's that?
So you created a frenzy in the comment section there.
That's hilarious. Let me just say the whole Mythic Legions collector thing is I don't dislike any of them, but the dwarves are towards the bottom.
Hey,
the only thing
I'm not an orc fan. I hear you. I
like orcs. They're like middle of the road for me, but the only thing I dislike more than dwarves is elves.
Oh wow, yeah.
Hopefully GD isn't watching.
Yeah. Stick around. Guillermo asked if it was from Predator. Just don't talk to Stell about Predator. He gets confused easy.
Yes. Going off 4 hours of sleep.
Has anyone else watching? Has anyone seen the new Predator movie, Prey? I have not watched it yet. Isn't that what it's called? Is it called Prey?
Oh, Eric, there was a question in the comments. They were saying, what brand of airbrush do you use?
This is an Iwata Eclipse.
Iwata Eclipse.
Yeah.
Actually, funny thing, Tim, since you were talking about the Predator, I went back and rewatched The Predator because I couldn't remember certain scenes from it. So I rewatched that, what was it, last night?
What's the title of the new one?
Prey?
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's the one.
All right. Drew said he liked it. Guillermo said the first 40 minutes were a snore fest, but overall a good movie. That doesn't make any sense, G. All right. Happy Pursuit says, I've seen Prey. Indeed.
Mindless didn't like the actual Predator in it. I didn't mind him.
J-Mac, it's all right. Worth a watch. Yes, we caught that, Guillermo, when you said the first 40 minutes was a snooze fest. He said it got a lot better after 40 minutes. I personally cannot wait for the NECA accessory sets that are coming out for the Universal Monsters. I
just got the Mummy one 2 days ago.
The accessory set?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Where'd you order that from?
There's a store close to where I work. It's called Game Runners, and they got in like 6 cases of them.
I hate you because I ordered 3 of those from Big Bad.
Oh, that reminds me. I ordered one from Big Bad Toy Store. I need to cancel that.
Yeah. Well, you could just send me the one that you just got and then keep your pre-order for Big Bad. Yeah. I figured
Okay.
you'd probably laugh that one off. It was worth a try.
So I should probably tell you guys what I'm doing right now. I have a really, really bad tip dry on my needle, and it's frustrating. So I'm switching out colors. I'm going to go back to my mid-tone.
Okay.
But what I did is I'm using this as an opportunity to clean out the airbrush really quick. So I pulled my needle out, and there's crap all over the tip, and that's keeping my thin sprays from coming out. So I'm basically just going to wipe it off on here.
What is that?
What, the needle?
Yeah.
So that's the needle. Yeah. Explain.
Yeah. Here's the airbrush again.
I understand what you're doing with it. Is it something that you recommend for anyone that's getting an airbrush? Does it come with the airbrush?
Yeah, this is an essential part of the airbrush.
Okay, there we go.
So what you do is you put the needle back through here. It runs through the entire airbrush, and this is basically what plugs the tip.
Okay.
So that's what keeps the paint from coming out.
Gotcha.
Tighten that down. So when I release the air and pull back on this, what this is doing is that's pulling the needle backwards, and that opens the hole for the paint to go out.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Mindless. Yes, the Game of Thrones prequel was word.
I have not seen it. Don't spoil.
Oh, I'll tell you one big spoiler. There's
dragons in it.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm really excited for that Willow series and the Lord of the Rings too, because nobody else is giving me any Lord of the Rings content, and I'll take what I can get.
Okay.
That is also true.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to what you guys were saying.
No, you're fine. We're just going off.
That's all right. We haven't been paying attention to what you've been saying either.
Okay, cool. We're even. So I've got the mid-tone back in here, the Cadian flesh tone.
Okay.
And I'm going to blend this a little bit. Basically, what I'm going to do is Zenithal highlight over this and see how that works out, and then see if I need to go in and do more detail after that.
Gotcha.
And my airbrush is working much better now.
Yeah, we can definitely tell.
Yeah, I just saw it shoot explode out.
Eric, do you think that maybe that dry edge on the needle was happening from you just kind of shooting air through it and not paint?
Yeah. I shouldn't have been as careless in how I was doing that, for sure.
So when you go too fancy, it backfires. Got it.
Yeah.
No. Eric, one other question too is, do you ever worry about losing detail? Let's say like on the beard, or do you feel like you're putting on thin enough coats where you're not really building up paint, too much paint on the beard?
Say the first part of that again.
I'm saying when you kind of have a little bit of overspray onto the beard, do you ever worry about losing any detail on the beard, or the part that you're trying to avoid from airbrushing?
Yeah, it's thin enough that you're never going to notice.
Cool.
Oh, so it doesn't lose any detail. That's good.
No. You would have to go back and forth with an airbrush and mess up a lot for it to get to a point where you would see it. I'm actually pretty happy with how that came out. I don't know if you can see it.
We can.
But I've got some good highlights there.
Wow.
Even when the light is hitting it direct, like right now the light's hitting it directly, you can see the deep tones and the highlights running through the side of the skin there.
Yeah, that's nice.
The wrinkles on the forehead are holding some of that. The shadow over here on the side were pretty good. Down the eyes, good. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty good, actually.
Very
So
nice.
the last thing I'm going to do is we'll go in with the highlight tone, which is the Kislev flesh. And usually I don't do a whole lot of work with the highlight. I usually just zap it from the top really quick. That's usually enough to get the effect that I want.
Guillermo and Drew both said looking really good.
What's that?
Guillermo and Drew both said it's looking really good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, Curtis as well.
Oh, yep. Sorry, Curtis. I didn't see you there, buddy.
Shake it.
How come you don't use the little marbles?
Yeah, I was gonna say Lou is very disappointed that you don't have your little beads in there.
Lou said dip your balls in your
What?
paint.
Because I never have money when I see them to order. And there, no stores around here carry them. So I have to order them. And that's annoying to me. I tried stainless steel ball bearings once. And
Not so
they
stainless.
rust. They rust
Yeah.
like crazy and they ruin your paint.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I would like to get glass beads in there. Just haven't done it.
Stell's got
And-
some glass beads that you can use.
Stop. Let's see what do you got here.
Only been used once.
What I've been doing. You got mindless. He uses the Kislev as his mid-tone. Changing
What do you use
lives,
as the
Eric.
highlight?
Changing lives.
I'm curious what you use for a highlight if you use Kislev for a midtone, because that could work. It would just be a lighter skin tone.
Yeah.
But
I think
I find that
yeah, it comes down to what you're trying to project. Is
Mm-hmm.
this character, does he go out a lot or does he stay inside? You know?
right, I was gonna say once you get lighter than Kislev, most of the shade, like the skin tone shades, are like pale skin tone shade. They're made for like zombies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that could work if that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
Although I must say that Deluxe Barbarian, that's a pretty pale skin tone on that.
The brand
Not
new
the new
one,
one,
or
the original one. The
yeah, the newest version of that original Deluxe Barbarian builder. It's super pale. It's not even close to the original skin tone.
I was gonna say, I don't think it is.
Yeah, the thing that drives me crazy about the newest reissue too is that the discs in the elbow, like the disc joint, is like 10 shades darker than the skin tone.
Mm.
Oh, I have not.
Usually
noticed.
they do a great job at matching that. It does not match on that. It's distractingly bad on that figure. It doesn't match at all.
Hey, Stell, can you bring up Drew's comment? And while you're doing that, Guillermo said that he's learning so much, he's ready to dive in. He just needs an air setup now.
Awesome. You should do that. It's fun. Like I said, once you get more accustomed to it, it almost starts to feel a little bit like a crutch. Like it does. The process isn't as creative as putting brush to a surface, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mhm.
Can you read Drew's comment?
Plus white. I guess that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad at all.
Yeah. So I forget what I was saying. It probably doesn't matter.
You were talking about your socks.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about just the process of airbrushing. It probably is equally as artistic. It just doesn't feel, it feels more mechanical and less artistic. So that over time started to wear on me and I wanted to go back to brush work. So I haven't been airbrushing as much.
Well, airbrush is cheating.
What's that?
Nothing.
Airbrush is the industrialization of painting.
No, Eric knows I love to tease him about it. I say that's cheating all the time.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Yeah, I just love to tease you about it. It's kind of like how I'm teased about Moulin oil. but
Okay. All right.
Before your piece is spoiled, make sure it's null and oiled. That's what I say.
So here's after the Kislev highlight. The lighting is awful.
well, that's why I said if you tilt the head upward, then we won't have so much shadow casting.
Mm-hmm.
Like this.
Yeah, and then just lower. There you go. We can kind of see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It looks totally different in person than what it
Well,
does
yeah,
on my
they
screen.
always do. And of course, when you're all finished with it, I would hope that you would share this picture.
Definitely.
With all of
Oh
us.
yeah, for sure. And like I said, I'll give it to someone that's in the comments.
Well, make them work for it.
Yes, definitely.
We're already into the second hour here, so I don't think I'm going to get super far. But I'm happy with that highlight. I just want my shadows to kind of come back a little bit, so I'm going to hit it one more time with Bugman's Glow from the bottom.
Now, is this something that's common that you go back and forth like this?
Oh yeah, and this is when I don't have a camera on me, I go back and forth for a long time. Especially
Curtis,
with
he's
female.
not quite ready to jump into
skins.
airbrush yet, but at least he's learning a lot about tones, shadows, and highlights, which I can agree with him. I
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd rather hand paint, to be honest. I mean, it definitely looks interesting, but
You can
I
achieve a lot of cool stuff with an airbrush that you just can't with a normal brush. But
I strongly believe that.
as well.
I just, yeah, I don't know. To me, it makes me want to push even harder using a brush.
Mhm.
You know, to achieve things that you normally
I
could.
understand that for sure.
Yeah.
Just looking at it and from what I've seen so far with Eric, just the coverage is great for the fact that you don't have to sit there and kind of go across the whole head painting the skin tone. You just kind of and it's done. So for that sense, yeah, I could totally see it. But what would drive me nuts is having to swap out the colors like Eric is doing to do the different tones.
Yeah. Hey, Stella, instead of us staring right at his hand, maybe change the angle.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, I'm going to go grab something to drink. I'll be back in a second, guys.
No problem, Tim. So Eric, you're just reapplying some shading, you said, to this now?
Yep.
Oh, we got Eric LeBron. Hey, Eric. He says he wants to practice on some highlights and shadow effects, along with just using the airbrush setup more in general. So,
Yeah. I'm really I'm sorry. I'm unhappy with one part of this. And if I keep at it too long, I'm going to end up ruining it. So I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds.
It's fine, Eric. I think all of us that paint can definitely relate to that. So, guys, in the comments, definitely let us know what do you think about the whole airbrushing thing. Is it something that is for you? Something that a little too intimidating to pick up? Definitely let us know.
All right, so I'm almost done. Sorry, I'm going through my paints now. So I'm going to go back with my mid-tone, and I'm going to add just a little bit of red into it. And we're going to try to get that rosiness on the tip of the nose, just around the cheeks. And hopefully I don't go too far and ruin the whole thing.
it's a delicate operation right now.
It really is, and that's the main thing that kind of makes me nervous about airbrushing in front of people is that I go back and forth a ton. I can sense everyone losing interest right now.
No, definitely not. I mean, I'm very interested because I just love seeing the process. I think it's very interesting to see this whole thing, just how it comes together with an airbrush. And to know that it's not just you shooting one skin tone color on there and, calling it a day. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely not.
Eric LeBron says, what are you filtering your overspray with? He does not hear any filter. So he's not quite doing any filtering right now.
Yeah, I went over this earlier. I live in a tiny farmhouse, and I don't have room for all that fancy stuff. So I spray into a cardboard box. That's what I got.
Curtis says he just assumed that everything you do is super easy, Eric. And he says it's actually refreshing to see you deal with obstacles. So you're welcome, Curtis.
Yeah, for sure. Things aren't super easy. I just keep at it until I'm happy with it, and that usually takes forever. And that's why I'm a pretty slow painter.
Cool. Happy Pursuit says he's definitely going to try it later on this year. So you're definitely convincing.
I mean, it takes some money to get into, which sucks, but it's a nice tool to have, around.
Mindless asked too, Eric, are you doing any type of classes at Legion's Con?
So maybe I'm doing a breakout session, and I'm still trying to figure out what that means for me. So I don't have the ability to bring all my paints. The sessions are 50 minutes, so I don't think I could show you anything in 50 minutes anyway. So I'm thinking we're probably just going to kind of sit down, and hopefully few enough people come to where it just feels like a conversation, and you can just talk and you can ask me questions and I'll give you my opinions or whatever. If you have a better idea, let me know.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time to me. I'll definitely join you in that.
You're coming, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, this is really cool. Seraphim says he's not artistic, but mechanical. And after seeing these techniques, it seems easier than hand painting. So there you go. It's awesome to be able to show something to somebody and have it turn out to be not as difficult as they expected it to be, or not as a challenge. I feel airbrushing could be very intimidating in the word.
Well, that's why we do these videos.
Exactly. Yeah.
You want to bring up? There you go.
Yeah. So the models.
Guillermo, I believe Stell is talking about some of that.
Give it some time. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Oh, really? LeBron was talking about Gundam models. Eric or Tim, have you guys ever used those? They're like Gundam pens.
No, I've never used those.
They're like specific for drawing or painting Gundams.
Right. Yeah, I've never used them.
Eric to the other Eric says that they should definitely talk about the breakout sessions because he doesn't know what to do with his hour.
It's intimidating. I think in order to be comfortable with the breakout session, you have to be comfortable with the fact that people care what you have to say about anything. And I don't know if I'll ever be there. So I'm figuring it out.
Well, the nice thing is that you should always remember. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, Tim. Being at Legion's Con is that you're surrounded by a bunch of people that love the same thing that you do. So I feel like it's always going to be easy to engage in certain conversations about these things.
Indeed. You've got plenty of people here, clearly, that are interested in what you have to say, Eric. So
exactly.
I think your thought process is off a little
bit. One day I might come to terms with that. I don't know what to do with
that. Drew asks, Eric, do you use the airbrush for anything else other than painting figures?
I want to say I used it once for something else, but I don't remember what it was. I was gonna try it on this dude, but the wood doesn't take to it very well. And then I used it on a diorama, actually to stain wood. I was gonna buy a wood stain and just stain like balsa wood elements of this diorama. I was like, nah, I think I can make the tone with my airbrush, and I ended up airbrushing that. It came out really good.
Nice. That actually is something I didn't even think about, that airbrush would work perfectly for dioramas and painting dioramas. So
yeah, and getting into skin tones and stuff is cool, and I use an airbrush for that a lot. But what I really love doing is experimenting with inks with an airbrush. That's a ton of fun. You can get some really vibrant colors with some really cool gradations and volumes and highlights and shadow just from using one color of really translucent ink. So I like that.
Right on. I got no problem with that at all.
If you see some of my more vibrant customs that are like super shaded and super highlighted, they're probably not paint at all. It's ink.
Really?
Yeah. That's a bit of a secret weapon conversation, I think. Okay. One last thing. After I did the red, let me see if I can show you guys. The overspray is insane, but yeah, this doesn't look anything like it does in person. The cheeks and the nose are really rosy now. The one last thing I want to do is just get in under the cheeks with my shadow tone to kind of deepen it just a little bit. And hopefully that'll be the last thing. Didn't test it, it's too thin.
Drew says he uses inks as well, but with a brush.
He does what with a brush? Oh, inks.
He uses some inks on his stuff as well.
They work really well for like washes, or if you have the patience, they're really good for glazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the patience for it, but if you put inks through an airbrush, it's literal magic.
So here's a good question from Mr. LeBron. Eric, he says, have you tried any of the Mission Models brand airbrush paints on Legions? And if so, how was the result?
I haven't. I've never heard of that brand. Where do you get it?
Definitely let us know, Mr. LeBron, where we can find that.
I will say I recently bought some of the Turbo Dork paints, which is like really extensive metallic and color shifting paints. And their colors are awesome, but they're the most finicky paints I've ever painted with.
Any hobby or model?
I'll double check mine, but I'm pretty sure none of mine have it. I'll look the next time I'm there. Okay, I think I'm good. So there's like a half an hour left, right?
As long as you want.
Yeah. I'm done with the airbrush.
All right.
So where do you want me to go from here?
That's completely your call.
I think the people would like to see the eyes done.
You're the featured artist, Eric. You do what you want to do, man.
So I know you guys are joking about the eyes.
No, we weren't.
I'm not against going through it. If you look up how to paint eyes on YouTube, you're going to see the same thing I would show you. But we'd be here for like another 2 hours.
Yeah, right.
That's an exaggeration, but it's not a quick process.
How do you do the pupils?
Just in general?
Yeah. Do you use like a special tool?
So yes and no. My family just got home, so my dogs are gonna bark and stuff. I'm just warning you guys. I'll show you guys. Hold on.
Curtis, we would love to have Drew on.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
We're gonna be reaching out to Mr. Drew.
Yeah, I think the only reason why we didn't is because he was under the weather for a while, right? I'm pretty sure that was the only reason why he wasn't already contacted.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is mocking me outside the window here. So when you ask if I use any special tools, the answer is yes and no, because it's a paintbrush. I don't use like toothpicks or whatever. It's all painting with a brush, but this is, you want to talk about secret weapon conversations, I guess. This is what I use here. It's Artist Loft Vienna series round, and it's an 18-0.
I love that
size. So
I use 18, 20, and 10/0 constantly.
Yeah. If you can see that tip.
Yeah, we can.
It is tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I buy these brushes 5 or 6 at a time just so that I've always got them ready to go.
Sure.
And I don't know if you can see. All you can see is my fat thumb. It's pretty shaded, but if I put that up to the eye,
right,
the width of the tip of that brush is about probably 1/6 of the size of that eye, if that makes sense.
Drew, we pretty much stared at Lou's crotch when he was
Mm-hmm.
so one crotch is
I don't see a problem
the
with
other,
what
I would
Drew's writing. I don't see the problem.
So
of course you wouldn't still.
Just
okay,
Crotch
I'm done
seeker.
airbrushing. Oh, sorry, you guys are talking.
No, you're fine.
no,
You
you're
go
good.
ahead.
You're good.
I'm in my own world.
We talked to buy you time.
Talked about what?
We talked to buy you time. So when you're focused on doing something, you're not worried about answering questions.
Oh yeah. So I'm done with the airbrush. I'm doing some quick cleaning so that it's not harder for me to do later.
Nice.
And I think we're good there. So what color hair does this guy have?
Ooh, let us know. What preferences, guys?
What do you think?
While
Green.
everybody's kind of thinking that over, Mr. LeBron says that the Psycho brush from Army Painter is one of the best paint brushes he's ever used for doing eyes.
I'll have to look into that too. I
All right,
have that one small brush. That's like my one brush. I'll never use anything else for that. Everything else, I just use like whatever's cheapest at the store.
Mm-hmm. I do feel like, yeah, when it comes to brushes, definitely invest in some good thin tip brushes. And then, the rest, like you said, you can find anywhere else.
I think I'm going to go in with a wash on this guy because I'm not happy with some of the wrinkles in the face.
We got gray, and then we got old gray blonde. So looks like
That
people
old gray blonde sounds
right.
interesting.
Yeah. So it sounds like gray somewhere in the mix. Clearly, he's going to be an older dwarf.
I don't know what old gray blonde means.
It means blonde with gray. What about black fading to gray? As if he gets on in years.
You want to do like a bluish beard?
You should have never asked that question.
Yeah, I'll probably just do gray if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you should have just painted it the way you wanted.
So let me see here. Can you see this?
Yep.
I'm going to go in with some Reichland Flesh Shade, which I never do. I always avoid washes on the face. I don't use washes I don't slather the whole head in a wash. I use it more like a glaze. And really, I'm just going to use that teeny tiny brush and just kind of line some of these wrinkles in the face because I'm not getting the depth that I want out of them from the airbrush alone.
Now, is that something common that you have to do because you're not getting it from the airbrush?
I don't like to. I like to keep it all airbrush for the tones. I feel like it blends better. Like if I use the wash, it tends to be a little more of a stark contrast if I'm not careful, and then it becomes distracting. So that's not something that I want to happen really.
So the answer was no.
Yeah. Yes, the answer is no. I'm basically just resting the brush in the wrinkles of the face and letting that just kind of catch some of that tone.
Yeah, we can see them. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I went a little too deep there, so I dried my brush off, and now I'm just kind of soaking up the wash. There we go. The other thing too is the overspray tends to be a little overwhelming sometimes, and you can't really see
I was just
how
about
that
to ask
piece is
about
going to
that.
look until you kind of block it out with the hair, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So Curtis, we have talked to Lee
Mm-hmm.
about doing some sculpting on the show. We discussed that, I think, back in, I don't know, maybe March. So we will see. He's definitely up for it, but we'll see if we can make that happen because of the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
He's about 16 hours ahead of
Because
us.
he is.
With that said,
And mindless,
mine,
I would love O'Toole, but probably slim chance to none for that. He's just too
yeah,
busy, unfortunately.
yeah, I would go ahead and say no on that because Matt is way too busy. Yeah, sadly, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, as much as we would love to.
Would love that, but yeah,
I think we would geek out too much. He probably wouldn't get too much stuff done. We'd just be talking about him the whole time.
tell us about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, what did you think of when you designed this dwarf?
Yeah, how cool was Pete Jackson?
Yeah. With that being said, though, too, Matt O'Toole. Whoop.
What
I
the?
don't know what was going on there, but I just muted Eric real quick. Let's see if that. Yeah, we're good.
Somebody break into your house, Eric?
Yeah, right.
No, that was weird.
Is that
Danger,
life
danger.
alert?
Life alert! I've fallen and I can't get my paint.
But speaking of Matt O'Toole, he put some amazing detail on those dwarf heads.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished what was it, the Durin iron something sculpt that he had done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the detail he puts on those faces.
Eric, that looks great, man.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely helping. I like to not have to do this step, but with this one, it needed it.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just going in there, just filling him in.
I'm happy with it now.
Yeah. Yeah, Curtis, he's just highlighting the features, if you will.
Okay.
Mindless me neither, man. I love his dwarf stuff. Every single one of them.
Is everyone still in it?
No, they
Yeah,
all fell
yeah.
asleep. But Guillermo says that he loves those crevices. Now that's an interesting paint holder.
So
It's a wet palette.
it's just a wet palette.
That's a paint holder. Paintbrush holder.
It's a dual purpose.
Yeah, this is like the middle tray of the wet palette. So the brushes that I use the most, I just leave them in there. Grab my other paints here.
I see some of them have some nice spray on them.
What's that?
Some of those brushes have some nice fray on them. How they like kind of spread.
Oh yeah, most
Yeah,
of these are super messed up.
I love that. I will purposely destroy a brush just to get it funky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
I know your
Do we
preferred
wanna go
method is
like-
chewing on him. What other things do you do, Tim, to get him?
Whoa! Gonna have a good time tonight on the show.
Sorry, I'm looking through my paints here.
Rayclin
all right.
Flesh
Take your
Shader
time.
is awesome. I use it quite a bit, Eric.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Ready for that close up of the brown eye.
Eric, I don't recall if you said in the beginning, are you mostly heavily Citadel based as far as paints
Yes.
used? Yeah.
Almost completely.
Yeah, because that's the best paint to use.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
It really is, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Vallejo and Army, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of this, I'm just going to be dry brushing. So you guys have seen people dry brush a million times, right?
You're all right.
So I think these are my colors I'm going to do. So shadow is going to be Skaven Blight Dinge.
Okay.
Midtone, I'm going to go with Dawnstone.
Okay.
And then highlight will be Gray Seer.
Nice.
And when I'm brushing, I do start with the darker tones first. So that's what makes the most sense, especially if you're dry brushing. Does anyone have any other questions right now or anything else?
No, they're just talking about how they pretty much everyone likes Citadel. There's a few people that are like, Guillermo says try Vallejo. It's not bad. Flesh tones are great, but he is building a Citadel army. LeBron is Citadel all day.
Mm-hmm.
I do use some Vallejo paints from time to time.
Right.
I prefer their green tones over Citadels. So most of my greens are Vallejo.
Switch the camera. So
Yes, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm not paying attention to where the camera is at all.
you don't need to. Sales job,
Mm-hmm.
and he sucks at it. That's
Yeah,
why
right.
That's why
Well, let me say this. Bring it a little down. There you go, Eric.
Yeah. I'm trying to be cognizant of it now. So just base tone here, you're just laying down a layer of paint indiscriminately, so I'm not really using any kind of technique. I just noticed there's some really bad overspray on the top of his head that I didn't catch earlier.
Uh-oh. That's why you shouldn't use that, Eric. You should use those neck head scans. I saw that head come wiggly.
Yeah. This typically works better, but because I took it on and off to show the camera what was going on early on.
It just kind of lost its
Yeah, exactly.
Colin Cope is here. He says that you're not very talented, but he'll deal with you anyways.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that means.
Mindless just capped his year.
You just so 1 year.
Very nice, man. Keep up the good work.
1 year sober or
1 year with no incidents. Bring it a little down, Eric, if you can. Yeah.
He needs to be comfortable painting. You should just adapt to where he's at.
Yeah, but everybody wants to look at the dwarf head, not Eric's head.
But he's got a nice beard.
I mean, he's very handsome, of course. Don't get me wrong, but
Eric, how long do you spend on your beard?
On my actual beard?
Uh-huh.
Almost no time at all.
I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, it's trimmed up really nice.
I usually trim it.
Is it a fake beard? Is that why it looks good?
Yeah. No, I'll trim it once every like 3 or 4 weeks usually.
Jesus Christ. When did you get facial hair, in your 30s? My God, my shit grows like a fucking like wildfire. It's like old barn hay.
That's funny. I was unloading hay earlier today, and I also did it a few days ago too, so I'm super sore. I wasn't expecting to do it actually. But I did anyway. I live on a farm. I think I said that already. So I really screwed up the skin tone with the airbrush and didn't even realize it until just now. So I'm going to try to fix that before I move any further. I'm going to use my hairbrush or my hair dryer really quick.
Yeah, LeBron, I agree. He says you live in a world of lies. You got the cleanest looking beard. You do.
Right.
That shit's like movie quality. Do you have Matt O'Toole come over and do your beard every day? Is that what's going on? Holy shit. Matt O'Toole's in there like pinpointing his hair. This looks nice.
So for those that wanted to see it, there's the handy dandy hair dryer. Conair.
Yeah, I'm
Eric?
with you, man. I mean, it's cool to look at, but I don't think I'm an airbrush guy, to be honest.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
No, you're
So
fine.
let me see if I can hold it up here.
Oh, let me switch over.
Oh, that's better. No. Go back.
Back? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see that line right there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how the heck I missed that. It's really bad. So I'm going to try to cover that up.
Indeed.
I've got Cadian flesh tone and the Kislev flesh. I'm going to try to mix a tone that works and just cover it up. This brush was awful.
I don't know what's going on here, but I've lost my comment section, so I can't see what everybody's writing. So keep me informed, Tim, if anybody says anything.
Yep. LeBron says, painter pro tip, always have a hairdryer close to your paint desk. I personally let everything air dry. But again, this is what's great about this show is we get so many people with different ways of going about and executing.
Well, I think I've shown you guys, like, I go back and forth a lot when I paint, and I just don't have the patience to wait for everything to air dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that addition of that red that you put on there, Eric, looks really good.
You know what? My iPad.
Oh, it's your iPad?
Yeah.
I thought you were entering orbit. All right.
It's his house arrest beeper.
Were you talking about the red I did just now?
Yeah, that you added it to the I forgot which paint it was that you were doing. Yeah. But you added a little red to it, you said, and you can see it. Well, you could see it earlier on the cheeks and stuff.
Sorry, I'm not commentating at all right now.
If you can't paint and talk, don't worry about it.
I
Yeah,
was just
you
going into
finish. Yeah,
crisis mode, covering up that ridiculous smudge.
I personally hey, what's up, Trevor? I personally cannot talk and paint. So when it's my turn and I'm finally up to bat, Stell better have one hell of a co-host because you're not going to get anything out of me. Literally. I usually have music playing. I'll put on like some Miles Davis and that's it.
get to work.
Yeah,
You
I
listen,
can't.
listen
I
to
just can't
jazz
hold
to
conversation.
paint. You listen to jazz when you're painting.
I listen to jazz all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
I work in hi-fi audio, and usually when people say they listen to jazz, what they mean is they listen to smooth jazz,
no.
which means that they listen to elevator music.
Yeah. No.
And, it's always refreshing to hear someone say they listen to jazz when they listen to actual jazz.
Well. Yes, and with saying that, Miles Davis would probably bitch slap all of us for calling it jazz, but nonetheless, yeah. In a Silent Way, I highly recommend that album for anyone that's interested. It's a beautiful, relaxing album. It's just gorgeous. On the Corner is good as well.
I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a little bit more upbeat. In a Silent Way is more like Rainy Day, very mellow mood.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous album. So,
Well, guys, something that's really awesome right now is Eric has like completely fixed that. I mean, he's still working on it, but it looks so good from how it was previously.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it looks great.
mm-hmm.
And just so everybody knows that, if that does happen, don't freak out. You didn't lose the piece. You can always work and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes happen all the time. I make mistakes all the time. The cool thing with paint is that you can just cover it up. And I know a lot of people get frustrated hearing that because it's not always that easy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why it's important to maintain brush skills and not rely on an airbrush for anything, because I just did an entire class on an airbrush and screwed the whole thing up, and now I'm fixing it with a brush.
Well, I mean, and that's the difference. I think the biggest difference with a brush and airbrush is, like with the brush, you can get in with the fine details. With airbrushing, I feel like, you're kind of just going for coverage of large areas.
I think I got it. Can you see it?
Nope.
Yeah, you got it. Looks
You got
good.
it.
All right, finish that hair.
So yeah, like I said, I just went into crisis mode basically to fix that mistake. But all I did, if you look at my palette, I have the midtone, the highlight, and the shadow, and I was just sitting here dabbing my brush into each one and kind of mixing all these weird midtones.
Yeah,
and just putting them on the piece until I found the matches and got that gradient back.
Yeah, right on.
Okay. Are we still good? Do you want to go on with the hair?
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish it up.
We can call it at any point.
That's your call. Again, you're the guest.
Let's see. I think
we greatly appreciate that you gave us the time to do this.
Yeah. I think I'll try to finish the hair.
Yeah, if you just want to do the hair and then everything else off screen, that's your call, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have like a record of like the people that watch the show?
Yes, it's 1 million views.
Well, I just mean if we're going to give it away.
I do have, unfortunately, my comment section's gone down, so I can't see what people are writing.
No.
Right. Well, so it's a lot of chit chat between each other. However, and they're just
we
talking.
do have 18 people watching there right now. So,
I would just make a decision, make them answer a question or something of the sorts. And
Okay.
I mean, whatever you want to do, really. Mindless, yeah. I need to do a dwarf as well. I've got something else on the table right now, especially after coming off of the Duncan custom. Yeah, I definitely want to switch gears. So, dwarf doing something dwarven is definitely sounding pretty good right now. And I believe Mayfec is going to have a huge sale of dwarf parts. I think
Of
they're
dwarf
bringing. I
parts,
think they're bringing back a lot of older stuff. So
yeah, they're going to be bringing a good amount of dwarf stuff. So those that have got some deluxe dwarves that they want to customize or change up a little bit, your
or get some
your
of
chance
those
is coming up for sure.
Matt O'Toole heads.
Oh,
Well, they sell out so quick, so it's nice to like be able to get those again. Colin says we can guess how many chickens you have.
hey,
I don't know the answer though.
Don't name them.
We named the roosters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's some of their names? Yeah,
Most of them are named by my kids and my wife.
go on.
this is gonna be good.
The main rooster that we had was named Featherbottom.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool,
Okay.
actually.
And then we had another one named Gus. And Gus and Featherbottom are both no longer with us, but they both had rooster babies that look exactly like them. So that's Lil Gus and Lil Featherbottom. And then we have one named Rusty. He's gray and orange.
Ooh,
Rusty the Rooster. I like it.
Yep. And then I have another one that's colored like. This is the only one that I named, and it's probably the dumbest name out of all of them. Do you remember that movie, Rockadoodle?
Yeah.
So
as much as I want to say no, yes,
yeah,
I remember.
I watched that movie a lot when I was a kid.
That explains so much. Oh my god.
Probably, yeah.
Here you go, folks. Now you know.
The circle has been completed.
The main character in that movie's name was Chanticleer. And I have a rooster that's colored like exactly like him, so he's Chanticleer.
Well, see, I was expecting like the names are like Pickle and
right.
Oh yeah.
Fork and Bucket or something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
My kid's cousin, she names a lot of her stuff like that, like Disco Ball and like just like Lunchbox, I think was one of her kids.
There you go. See, that's what I was waiting for. Something like crazy.
Yeah.
Rusty.
My daughter comes up with weird names.
Yeah, no, some of those are actually really cool. I like Featherbottom, to be honest.
Featherbottom is a dope name. That is like.
I almost think that you should do an homage to him, Eric.
That's what I was just about to say.
I've thought about that, but have you seen those Gothotropolis prizes?
Yeah, that's another one right there.
But what I will say is we have some pygmy goats, and I would like to do some goat head.
Is the pygmy goat named Featherbottom?
No.
Okay, then.
So the pygmy goats.
We shall move on.
The pygmy goats are named Tony and Coco.
Tony and Coco?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely on the different ends of the spectrum.
My son named one and my daughter named the other.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now that I painted the hairline, I can really see the values in the skin, and it actually looks pretty dang good. I'm really pleased with it.
Guillermo said that he had a chicken named Chocolate that his daughter named.
That works.
That looks really good, Eric.
Yeah, can you see those skin tones better
yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Something about blocking out the hairline.
Mhm.
It just brings out that detail.
All right.
Amazing,
So
amazing work.
last thing I need to do before I layer the hair is paint these
Eyebrows.
eyebrows.
The Burt eyebrows.
They
Dude,
are,
it's all about the unibrows.
yeah,
just
one
painted
thing I
the
like about
unibrow
this
that one.
sculpt is the eyebrows are huge, so they're not
Yep.
that hard to paint.
That's the one thing about that's nice with the Matto tool sculpts. He makes like these bushy eyebrows that are just like not hard to paint at all. It's a joy to paint.
Stevie Wonder can paint those without messing
Mhm.
up.
Exactly.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah.
that custom you just posted yesterday, I think, with the cloth arms and legs.
Yeah.
Is that based on anything, or is that just a character you made?
I just pulled it right out of my ass.
I really liked it. It came out really great.
Thanks, man. I really liked it.
That's the first time I've seen those arms and legs customized too.
Mm-hmm.
What a shame, because they were great to paint. So for the joints, what I did was I laid down a paint primer very lightly, and then I coated it with sealant. And then I went back over it with it again. And then what I did was I just went ahead and went into the white that I was using for the sleeves and did all that up, and then did a final seal on it again. And they're holding. So there's no paint rub yet, which is good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, when I first started customizing, I kind of just was like, oh, I just need to like do whatever I got to do. And I didn't like the fact that I couldn't really like move them. You know what I mean? You had to be so
Mhm.
careful. So I got it into my head where I'm like, I really want to start making them to be almost as fully functional as possible. And it worked out because I ended up, obviously, I started letting some of my work go, which I never thought I would do. So it worked out because, that was another thing. It was like, I don't want someone to buy something of mine and then it's not really functionable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not always easy to do, and sometimes you just can't do it. It really comes down to what you're using, but I definitely give it the old college try, because I'd rather be able to, pose it and use it just like you would any other Mythic Legion figure. So
Yeah. I've done a fair amount of joint work on a lot of my customs, and I hate it.
it's definitely tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, really is tough.
Here recently, I've been skipping it and just dealing with joint rub because I don't want to mess with it.
Well, it can be a pain in the ass, and especially when it falls apart on you, when you're just like, Jesus, I spent all that time and it just rubbed off.
Can't
It
imagine.
sucks. LeBron says he wants to hang out with you on your farm and play with animals.
I mean, if you're ever in Dayton, for sure.
Right.
He said he'll
We've
bring a
got
jar of peanut butter. Not sure what that means.
What's that?
He said he'll bring the jar of peanut butter.
We've got goats, chickens, dogs, cats,
and
horses.
they all love peanut butter.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? Let's talk about that. Guillermo says, Tim. Whoop, hang on. There's a lot of comments coming in. Camouflage to that custom. It is sick. Oh, thanks, Guillermo. Appreciate that, man.
Okay.
Curtis said pulled it out of his ass while he was reaching for the paintbrush. You got that right. I keep them all up there. Definitely great to be able to play with customs. Yeah, Cullen, how's that rat working out? You can maneuver them and pose them fine, right? I'm hoping. I tried something different with the tail on that in hopes that it would be more functional. Paint rub is definitely going to happen, Lou. You ain't kidding.
I'm just dry brushing the second layer on now.
Well, we're at 2 hours and 6 minutes, so as long as you're good.
Yeah, I'll finish the beard. We'll come up with a question to like ask.
What are you brushing with right now, Eric?
The paint?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What color are you using now?
It's Dawnstone.
Dawnstone.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just a little bit lighter. And the one piece that I will use washes on are beards. I mean, that's really the best thing to use a wash on, in my opinion. So I will, after I do this mid-tone one, I'll go over it with some Nuln oil.
Tim's nips just got rock hard.
Hell yeah! Cover the soil in new oil.
I gotta say, now that I'm doing the tones on the hair, all the tones that I built with the airbrush on the face are really coming out.
I can't imagine.
I'm gonna have to check out those grays, Eric, that you're using. I used one today. I don't know if you can really see.
Let's bring you up. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, no, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So
I gotta get some skull heads.
I used. What did I use? Administratum gray or something, whatever it's called.
I don't think I have that one.
Well, I don't think I have. Well, I have Dawnstone, I think, but I don't think I have the other grays that you mentioned.
You don't even have gray sear?
I don't think so. Is that a layer?
That's a base paint.
Oh, it's a base? All right. Hold on.
Gray sear is like it's like a secret weapon Citadel paint. It's just one of those ones that works so well in just about every application.
No, I've got Gray Knight Steel. The Adamantine Gray. What else do I got? Oh, no, I've got a couple of different ones. And then the layers. Yeah, I'm going to have to check those out, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely gray sear is one you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my hair dryer really quick.
All right. All right, hold on.
Any questions or anything?
No questions so far. It's Can you see those now, Stell?
So I'm kind of rigging it, and I have YouTube opened on another window, so I'm going on there and reading the comments and coming back.
Okay, I got you. So yeah, Jose, I'm glad that you like that that custom, and I'm glad it's functional. Lewis just said that I'm a rookie because I don't have Dawnstone.
Okay.
All right. Looking at Eric's dry brush made me wonder: is it a good idea to use dry brush techniques when applying a clear coat?
Is that a question from you or from someone else?
That was a question from Happy Pursuits. I personally,
Good idea
I
to
would,
use dry brush when applying clear coat.
yeah,
I can say the only time I've ever done that was when I did one of those Wolf King customs, the squid heads that they did.
yeah.
I did a dry brush of a gloss coat on it
Oh,
because I wanted it to look shiny,
and wet.
but I didn't want it to be like a solid coat of gloss, if that
Right,
makes sense.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Because that tends to look really cheesy and plasticky.
I gotcha.
Now I'm just layering in the Nuln Oil.
You got to dip it in.
I'm really kind of particular about how washes settle, so I don't like to
Oh yeah,
just
you got
lather it.
to be real careful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to use washes that much in general, but for a beard, there's really nothing else that gets you that effect. Unless you're a lot more careful of a dry brusher than me, I guess.
All right, what size brush are you using?
That's a big one. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're not using a small fine. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I see it now.
He's just
Yeah, it's kind of a nasty one.
cooling it on there.
Really, like I said earlier, like I have my go-to like super fine brushes for things. But when it comes to my larger brushes, I just use whatever's sitting close to me.
Look how he's putting that on.
That Nuln Oil is just magic.
Am I doing something like different or?
No, Eric, you're fine. I'm teasing Stell because he's always razzing me about the Nuln Oil.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah, you should have. Did you see his Baron Harkonnen meme? That was funny as hell.
I don't know if I saw that one.
About fell over. That was hilarious. Stell's definitely got some good jokes. You stabbed Henry. He fucking stabbed me. Oh my god. Yeah, Guillermo, it is one of the best running jokes. At my expense, but yes, it's definitely
That's why it makes it so much funnier. It just
right. Yeah.
I loved in the I probably shouldn't even bring this up, but there was like in the private chat that we have, I don't remember what you even said, but Tim, you were making fun of me for something. And I acted like I took it personally. And someone said, like, dude, he's just joking with you. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's in his personality.
Yeah, right.
And I think people thought I was serious.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, that's because you don't joke. You see, you and I are complete opposites. That's what's so funny about it. They were probably like, "Oh my god, he's got his feelings hurt." Tim, you went too far.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I do, but I'm the kind of person that I'll crack a joke and no one knows that I did or understands why I said what I said.
If you crack one joke once a year, how are people?
Yeah.
If you did it more often,
crack 12. If people laugh at 6, you did a good job.
Right? Yeah. The comments will come through. I'm sorry that bug up your ass had to die, but you're funny. Let's
see.
This is fun. Are you guys having fun? Did everyone else have fun?
I'm having a great time. I already took my pants off.
Yep. I mean, that happened as soon as you said Nuln Oil.
Nuln Oil.
Oh no!
You almost look like you froze. What are you doing? Oh, he's still drying.
He's drying away.
Oh, oh, oh.
Guillermo.
Can you all see it?
Let's see. Let me bring you up here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
man.
yeah.
It's really coming out good. I'm a lot more confident about the skin tones now that I'm doing the hair.
They look great now that you've got that gray
Yeah.
on there. We can really see that.
It's cool.
Just hang tight because I can still see there's some wet in there. You don't want to smear your paint with that.
I know. I hate this.
That's all right. You want to call it and you can just finish it in your own time?
Maybe we should. So, how many people are in the chat still?
We got 19 in the chat.
19?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are very patient. I appreciate it. I probably would have clocked out by now if I was just watching. So, there's 19 people. Okay. Let's just do like a number between like 1 and 50 or something.
1 in
Does that
50 and
work?
have people choose.
Yeah, does that work?
That works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Colin. The transformation of these systems, like a lot of video, is so cool.
Mm-hmm. Especially like Eric said too, once that hair got colored in and you had like the contrast with the face and the skin colors. Excellent job.
All right, the numbers are pouring in. Let's write
Cool.
the number.
Yeah,
I'll have
Eric.
my daughter give me a number.
Yeah,
There you
tell her
go.
to give you one.
Call the
Okay,
little
Isley.
one. Watch your
Lou,
0.
Happy already said 7. Pick another number.
What is it, Daddy? Okay.
Okay. Here's Isley.
Hi, Isley.
Hi.
So this is what we're painting tonight. I'm going to give it away to the people watching. So I told them to pick a number between 1 and 50. So whoever's closest, right? Does that make sense?
Sure.
So what's a number between 1 and 50?
I got one.
What is it? Do you have one? You said you had one.
29.
Okay.
Nice.
29.
Ooh,
29.
Let's
take
see.
a look.
All right, so far, Mindless has 27.
Ooh.
Is that it?
Oh, I think. Oh, it's Mindless.
Yeah, it is
Nice.
mine.
Cool.
Mindless
All right,
focus.
thank
You know
you,
what's
Leslie.
funny too? He wrote earlier. He's like, "Hey, you need my address for that head."
Yeah. I saw
What
that.
is that?
Earlier, he said, I'll just send you my address and you can send me that head.
Well, go ahead and do that then.
Yeah. And he ended up with
It's a plan.
Cool.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Mindless man.
just,
That's awesome.
just
That
message
is
me
so
on
cool.
Facebook or whatever. I'll get it out. But I don't. We're going pretty late. So, are there any like last questions or anything before we go? Does anyone have anything?
or nothing. It's a lot of congrats and
Cool.
Just posted up Eric's Instagram again for those that maybe didn't catch it the first time and aren't following Eric on Instagram. Definitely give him a follow because you can see all his awesome customs that he has posted there. And Eric, man, what can I say? What an awesome special episode we had today. That was truly interesting to see. I hope the people became more comfortable with airbrushing or got to know a little more about it and are willing to make that jump over. Great stuff, man. Thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us and showing us all these steps and painting that awesome dwarf head, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I'm glad that it was interesting for everyone. It's something I've done a million times, so I'm always scared that I'm being really, really boring. So
Not at all. Not at all.
No, it was actually really cool that you chose the airbrush.
Mhm.
I like that we've had different types of things from the different art. It's really cool. So I mean,
yeah,
you definitely have helped push this forward for us. So greatly appreciate your time.
yeah, no problem. It's a lot of fun, and we'll do it again. Do we know who's next?
No, we're gonna figure that out, and
Yeah.
we will return next month with the next guest.
Yeah, we'll be back
Cool.
next month with episode 4. We'll be in talks with some artists and try to get some more content for you guys. And thank you guys for keep tuning in and watching with us and asking questions and engaging. It just honestly makes this so much fun for us, and I hope you guys are having fun as well with the show.
Absolutely. If we are not entertaining you, then we are failing epically.
Big time. Yeah. and also, guys, stay tuned. My Action Figure Customs will be restocking. I do know that there's new stuff even being added. So if you guys are eager to get some dwarf heads or parts or whatever you want, that should be coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah,
definitely
hit that like
be on the
button.
lookout.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, y'all have a good night. Eric, thank you again, and
Yeah, thanks,
we'll see
guys.
you again soon.
For sure.
See you guys.
See you
Thank
guys.
you.
Take care, guys.